a woman, so I don't know if just because I am a black woman that I experience black women as being more friendly because they trust me. Like, we're the same, you know, I am you, you are me. If I had to say,
you should be celebrated for every aspect of your growth and your growing pains.
What is promoted as being sexy, as being attractive, as being desirable is more mysterious, is less transparent. And so maybe they think that's what's going to get them what they want, and they're expecting.
It's like the bad bitch energy.
Yeah. And so they're expecting that that's what's going to get someone to come and talk to them.
That's also a thing. Like that girl. It made me think of that girl who got mad at that guy because he took her to Cheesecake Factory for the first date. But like she was late, like an hour late or something, coming down to even go on the date. So they missed their reservation, but she didn't know that. And he didn't like throw it in her face. He just, you know, made a different plan. Like that's what it's like. You blocking your blessing, girl. You blocking your blessing.
Which to me is not logical, but I feel like that could be what it is.
Some of it, maybe.
So it's a sense of like, if he's not man enough to walk through this veil of suspicion, I don't want.
Yeah, that I've heard that actually. I have heard that. Like if he's not like confident enough to come over and talk to me, then oh well. And I can say that I definitely have had a little bit of that as well.
I have, but I had to get over that because if you ever, there's a show called Fboy Island on HBO, and it changed my life. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. Season 1, season 2, I didn't really like, but season 1 was so good. And the premise of the show is there are 3 women who are coming on the show to like date and find love or whatever. And the 3 women, there's 12 men who are nice guys and 12 men who are self-proclaimed F-boys. But the women don't know who's who. And they have to, you know, go along and every day, couple of days, I don't know how often it is, they have to vote out, like vote people out, vote 3 guys out every, like, I don't know, elimination night. I don't know what you want to call it. They kept voting out the good guys. And it was because of things like, oh, well, he didn't approach me. He didn't seem that interested. I didn't think he liked me that much. And it was all the F-boys who were in their faces, talking to them, trying to get their attention, making them laugh, like freaking, like doing flips and like shucking and jiving for them. And that's when I realized, oh, the guys that I'm looking for, the same way a lot of the women that men probably are looking for are the ones that are more in the background. The men that I'm looking for are also probably more in the background because they're not going to be wanting to be the center of attention all the time. And they're probably a little nervous because their ego is not out of this freaking world. And so they're probably a little afraid to approach, which is very natural. So I probably need to give some people a chance who are not the typical guys that I go for or the typical guys that are in my face right there trying to get my attention, like popping out immediately. And that's, in a way, that's how I found my husband.
For sure. But like, shit's intimidating. It doesn't even matter if it's a friendly person. And I know because, you know, I've shot a shot or two and it's intimidating. It's scary. Not gonna lie. So I think I have a different, I understand a little bit. So I'm like, the least I can do is smile in your direction and say, hey, how are you doing?
Damn. Yeah, because when I have conversations with dudes, it's like, it's already scary to shoot your shot at a woman. Shooting your shot at a black woman is like, because you might be, it's one thing to shoot and miss, but you might have your shit swatted. Like you might have it swatted and then you get dunked on. Like you stand the chance of being like utterly embarrassed and annihilated. Like, look at you. How dare you think you can? And this is the experience of a lot of men.
Okay. But sometimes one is that the experience of a lot of men because a lot of women that I know, they're just trying to like leave and not get called names or like not be at risk of like violence and stuff like that. But also, sometimes you get hit on a person that's like, yeah, I just got out of jail, I don't got no job, and like I'm on drugs or something. Like you're getting hit on by the most like outlandish people, and you're just like, what about me? Look like I was gonna date a just got out of prison felon with no job. What about me said that? Because I need to, if that's what, then I need to do something. Like I think it's that. Because sometimes it really is just like, what made you think you could date anybody at all, let alone me? And maybe that makes me vain, but also I claim that.
I'm sorry. That sucks.
So
The other side of that is I'm sure that just what he's saying as is with perfectly decent guys also happens, and that does suck. Getting rejected already, oh gosh, it's not fun.
for the men who still want black women, because I don't necessarily deal with the ones who are done. And I don't think convincing people is a worthwhile pursuit, especially adults. For the ones who still want black women, what's the best pep talk, battle rallying cry you can give them to like get back out there and
I would just, okay, this is going to sound really woo-woo, but I would just say focus on what it is that you desire to attract. Focus on what you desire and kind of putting yourself at the vibration to attract that. And just keep your eyes open for what it is that you're looking for. Like, don't give any energy to the things that you don't want, because where your attention goes, energy flows. So you want to put your energy towards what it is that you desire, your thoughts towards what you desire.
So if you desire someone who loves and cares about you and treats you well, that means put your energy towards people who, are that, as opposed to trying to make someone who's not that be that.
For a while, I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to, even as a black woman, if I focus on all the things that's wrong with black men and statistics that are against me this and statistics, I literally will never find anybody if I do that. And I've had a lot better luck by focusing on the black men who are beautiful fathers and the black men who are beautiful partners. Like, I literally put those images and that kind of stuff in my vision, in my awareness, because I want to have the belief that exists and that it exists for me. And what I would say to them is that you don't need all black women to smile at you if you want a black woman. You don't need all black women to be friendly, and you don't need all black women to bring you peace. If you're a monogamous person, you need one black woman, just one.
And I will say, for me, putting those positive images in front of me and just making myself have that belief 100% worked out in my favor, because if I had not done that, I would not have recognized my husband when he came. I just wouldn't. And that's the facts. And I've told him that. If I was not doing that, I would not have been ready for my husband when he came. And sometimes we always say, like, where were you? Like, I've been waiting for you. Where were you? And then at some point we're like, yeah, but if you would have came sooner, I wasn't ready. So it's good that we met when we did, because neither one of us really would have been ready sooner. So the timing, it was perfect. It was the way that it was supposed to be. But I would not have been ready for that timing if I had not been cultivating the belief within myself that good men exist and that they are out there, and that one was out there for me.
Who is that for you? You're just trying to find your one. You don't need everybody to be that for you, because everyone's not going to be that for you. So just focus on your one. Surely you can find one person. I mean, unless, again, you want multiple partners, then you got to find your 2 or your 3 or your 5 or whatever. But if you're, someone who's looking for your one life partner, something that helps me is to remember that I'm just looking for one person. I don't need everybody to be the man that I'm looking for, because I'm only looking for one.
So, there's a lot of talk these days about like black women divesting. That means going to best man for the job, white man, Asian man, whatever. And then black men, they have SYSBM, Save Yourself Black Man. So they're going to Thailand, South Africa, South America, Africa, Europe to find a better quality woman, because American women are fundamentally broken. American black women are fundamentally broken.
Not broken.
Do you think black love, black man, black woman, do you think it's still a worthwhile pursuit? Or
yes,
do you think what those groups, what those factions are doing is cool? It's all right.
If they want to do it, do it. If they want to go, go. One thing, Joseph and I have talked about this. And he was like, dudes think they want that, but if they actually got that, I think they would realize they don't really want that because all the responsibility is on you. She's looking to you for everything. And if you don't provide, you're on your own. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot. Like there can still be roles. There's roles within every relationship and there's roles within every family. There can still be roles without it being like an all or nothing kind of situation. But if you want to divest, by all means, please do. That's the thing is, I don't want anybody who doesn't want me. So if there was ever a man who didn't want me or didn't want black women, which meant he didn't want me, then I didn't want him either. I stopped wanting the people that don't want me. That's not a thing that...
Be honest.
It's worthwhile for me. I
Aww.
think each person has to make that choice for themselves. And
I was such a hopeless romantic lover girl. I love me for that. I still am that way.
I've had times where I really wanted to be one of those people that divested. I was like, maybe it would be easier. Like, maybe it would be fine. I've had these conversations with my mom all the time. I'm just like, Mom, I just wish that I was attracted to white men. I feel like, I have more options. Not even just that it would be easier, but, I would have more options if I was attracted to, more than really just black men.
I would have more options because there's a higher percentage of white people. So even if, like, let's say only 10% of black men are, like, dateable and only 10% of white men are dateable, the 10% of the white men that would be dateable would be larger in number than the 10% of the black men. Therefore, I would have more options numerically if I dated outside of my race. But thank God I don't have to think about that no more.
But since I want a black man, my options they're fewer. Naturally, numbers. I feel like it's worth it for me. I can't say if it's worth it for everybody. I think you gotta want it. And if you want it, then it's worth it for you.
Still worth it.
If you don't, then do what you do. I'm gonna support you either way. I just want you to be happy, Just be happy. And if you feel like what's gonna make you happy is dating someone of a different race, then that's cool. I don't look at, other couples that are mixed couples and be like, I'm just like, oh wow, that's beautiful. It's a different kind of beautiful. I think that black love with black men and a black woman is exceptionally beautiful. But
why?
One, because
there's been so much that tried to stop it from happening. And I think that when you have it, you appreciate it more because you understand what it took to get there, not only within your lifetime, but in generations and generations before you. And I know in my marriage, we're actively working to break generational curses. And the love that we have and that we've developed and that we continue developing as a result of just doing that together, working to overcome the generational trauma that's instilled within both of us from generations, I don't see what other kind of love has that type of obstacle that they are choosing to get over together because they love and care about each other and they want something different for their future. So I love love in general. I love black love the most. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
I have a lot to work through to get there. I feel like if you have that, the appreciation for what you have, in my opinion, is much deeper because I feel like we have to do more work to get to the point of having a healthy experience within the context of black love. And I just feel like it's a really deep, rich love when it's done well. And I feel like as we, as black people, come together and figure out what it looks like to have healthy families, then we can raise black children who grew up in a healthy environment and who are just like badasses in the best way. And I feel like that's the start of us shifting a lot for ourselves and our community is like with the black family. I feel like the black family is important and it's the foundation of everything. So it's important for building legacy, black legacy specifically.
Healthy black families will produce healthy black children, which will then create more healthy black families because they will have grown up seeing what healthy love looks like. A lot of us have not grown up seeing what healthy love looks like in the black community and outside of the black community. And that's why the dating game is so fucked up right now. It's because nobody knows what they're doing and we're all just trying to figure out the best way that we know how because we did not see healthy love growing up. Our society would be so much better for it.
What do you wish if you had a Thanos glove, right? And you could snap your finger.
And do this.
What do you wish was different about black men?
What do I wish was different about black men? The first thing that comes to mind is I wish that they accepted love. I feel like sometimes even when you love them, they don't believe that you love them or they have a hard time receiving that love and that care. And it's not easy to get over. It takes time for them to, I think, just believe that you love them and that you have the best in mind for them. And I also wish that they felt more comfortable leading. We need more leaders. I also think that that's something that probably comes with time. I don't think that that's something that just automatically happens once you hit 18 or once you hit 20 or 25 or 30. I think that, honestly, I think the black men who are probably the best leaders are the ones who have wives and have families and have had to figure it out. Because when you have a partner who is pushing you, and you're also pushing them and y'all are pushing each other to be greater, you have to face yourself a lot more and be courageous and level up a lot more. Let's see what baby Dasha said.
I don't know that I have an answer to that. Oh, what I could say, okay. If I'm trying to make sure I think of an answer because that's a harder one. I would say I wish, and again, I don't think it's just a black men issue, but I would say I wish more black men went to therapy and knew it was okay to go to therapy.
Oh, yes, Lord.
If I had to say anything. Because I feel like y'all need it. We need it too.
That was a great answer. Yeah, that was a great answer.
What stone, why is it, or what is it specifically you think black men specifically need to work through from a psychological standpoint?
That's a good question.
The first thing that immediately came to my mind was feeling good enough.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because sometimes I feel like there's nothing that I can say or do to make black men feel good enough.
Oh, that is, man, that hits home. Because I feel like that's so real. And I don't think that a woman alone, I think having a great woman in your life can help with that. But I don't think just having an awesome woman in your life and having a healthy relationship in and of itself is enough for a man to feel like he is enough. There's certain things that he has to do. There's certain things that he has to deal with within himself, within his kind of coming of age, coming into manhood journey. That's just out of our control. We can't do that for them. They have to choose it for themselves. And one of the hardest things, in my opinion, being in deep relationship with a man is allowing them to go through that journey and loving them through it along the way and supporting them through it along the way and being patient with them through it along the way. And I think that the couples that I see who are the strongest and the healthiest, that process happened at some point in the marriage. Probably towards the beginning of their marriage or of their relationship. It's a very, very important, man, that feeling enough, I really feel like men not feeling enough leads to the majority of problems in relationships. I just do. This is good.
Why do you think we don't?
Great questions. I feel like I'm going to have a different perspective on this answer. Why do I think they don't? I've thought about this because this is part of what I got backlash for was the answer that I gave to this. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think the understanding that I have now and what I've gotten to witness for myself some now is that women have a lot to do with why men don't feel enough. Especially, I might get some pushback on this or some flack for this, but especially the mother of those men. I think that a lot of Black women have felt so out of control in their own lives and in their own upbringings that when they have kids, they try to control those kids. They try to control their home. You can see that in how picky they are about things like cleanliness, or things have to be cleaned a very specific way. And if it's not their way, then it's the wrong way. You can see that by, like, you have to fold these clothes or these towels that are going to be behind a closet door that I'm never going to see. You have to fold them a very specific way. And if you don't, then it's not good enough. And as a child, you take that as you're not good enough. And I think both men and women deal with that. But I think women have more avenues to talk about it. And men, they just internalize it. They don't talk about it. And so it sticks with them more. Whereas, like, you know, I can have a conversation with my friends and we'll really reflect on things like that, because a lot of us are dealing with it ourselves and trying to make sure that we are not that way. And so we're talking each other through how to not be that way, because we know that our mothers were that way. We don't want to be like that. And so I feel like that is a big part of why men don't feel like they're enough, is because when they made mistakes, they felt like they weren't loved even when they were making those mistakes. And so a big part of, I know something that I do as a wife, a big part of what my job is as a wife is reminding my husband that he is enough. And he does the same for me. And I think that's just part of having a healthy relationship. It is my belief that the purpose of a relationship is to grow and to heal. It's to create a safe space, because so many of us did not grow up with a safe space. So to me, the purpose of a marriage is to create a safe space for both of you to heal those childhood wounds and to grow as individuals and together. And then I feel like you grow a strong love and you can take over the world. You can do whatever you want from there. But I feel like that is the purpose of a relationship.
I think that y'all don't fully understand your worth because of things that you've experienced in your past and because of the picture that's painted of y'all.
I don't think that's inaccurate. I just don't think that's the most accurate answer. I think that contributes, but I think if things were different at home, then those outside factors wouldn't play so much of a role.
It's hard to believe that you're enough when there's been so many things aimed at making you believe that you're not.
What are those things?
Media don't like y'all at all.
They don't like anybody.
In my opinion. I know that there are men who experience some traumatic things with their parents, with women. I think there's a lot of things, and it's been different things for every person, but I think it comes from all sides. It comes from all sides.
So one of the things that I've observed that happens a lot, and it happens less to me than I think it happens to most Black men. And the only reason is I have conversations a lot. I've gotten pretty good at it. But a lot of Black men feel gaslit. And I know a lot of times we talk about it in the context of Black women feeling like their experiences are minimized and trivialized and, you know, you're crazy, that didn't really happen like that. Why do you think so many Black men feel, and to your point, feel not just unseen or misunderstood, but also like minimized when they do express themselves or air their grievances or, you know, talk about some of the things that they don't like, whether with women or society at large? Why do you think that is?
Why do Black men feel unseen or minimized when they're expressing themselves? It's a question.
I had to think long and hard about this one.
Like, I'll give you an example. Something that I hear a lot is the response.
Even now, I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question.
From women tends to be, where do y'all find these women? Well, none of my friends are like that. Mm-hmm. Or you need to pick better. If those were our responses when women aired their grievances, we would be lambasted as insensitive and...
I would say y'all are correct, because that's what I tell women. That's exactly what I tell women. Straight like that. It's your fault, boo. I'd be like, oh, I didn't know he was like, yes, you did. Okay, well, maybe, yeah. So I mean,
I say that with love. It's not always the case that you can see every aspect of everybody, but I'd say and that doesn't mean that just because you're single, it's your fault. But if you're dating asshole after asshole after asshole after asshole, the common denominator is you, boo. So why do you keep dating assholes? It's not about why you keep attracting them. It's why you keep choosing to allow them in your space. Why do you keep dealing with them? Why do you keep opening yourself up to it? At this point, it's like you should be an expert in assholes. You should be able to like see like what are you not learning that you need to learn? And I say that out of love because I would like for people to avoid pain. Like it took me getting engaged and breaking off an engagement for me to have my wake up call. I do not want y'all having to go through that because that shit sucks. And I would do it all again to get back to my husband now. But like if I could avoid all of that, I would. I absolutely would. But honestly, if I had avoided all that, I never would have met Joseph because I still would have been. So that's like, there's luck involved in dating, but there's also skill involved in it. And there's separating your emotions from logic, which is hard. But that's what you have to do initially when you're dating someone is separate your emotions from logic and figure out who someone is before you start falling for them.
I would say that y'all are correct when you say that. I mean, in general, though, again, if we're saying why do black men feel like unseen or not listened to when y'all are expressing yourselves, right? That's the question. I have to keep going back because I will forget.
I think it's hard for women to hear that sometimes. Again, like it takes a lot of practice. I don't care if you're a man, woman, they, them. I don't care like who you are. It takes skills to be able to hear feedback or something that sounds like criticism or like it takes a lot of skills to be able to hear that and not get defensive, to be able to hear it and just hear it and then be like, well, what do you mean by that? Tell me more. It takes a lot of skill. It's the opposite of how we're wired. Like we're not wired to respond in a healthy way. So to ask someone to respond in a healthy way is asking someone to go against their nature. And it's very hard and it takes a lot of practice. I don't care if you're a woman, if you're a man, I don't care who you are.
I feel like I would say because sometimes y'all aren't seen or heard. And I think that's because it's hard to do. And not even just for black women when it comes to black men, but women in general when it comes to men. Something that we don't talk about and something that I've kind of learned about is that as much as women ask for vulnerability from men, it's scary. It can be scary when we actually get it. Because your face. It's the truth. I think that something that Brene Brown was talking about, I love her, I'm kind of obsessed with her, is she talks about...
I still love Brene Brown. I think she had some controversy recently, but I love Brene Brown.
Vulnerability, shame, guilt, and how that can be a barrier. How like shame and guilt can be a barrier to vulnerability. And I think she studied mostly women, but a man came up to her and said, well, that's all fine and good. What does that look like for men? Like, what does your research look like in the context of men? And she was like, oh, I don't really know. I just study mostly women. And he was like, well, that's real convenient. And he basically told her that his wife and girls would rather see him die on his white horse than to express any type of vulnerability or like weakness. And I was like, shit, that's heavy. Like that's really heavy. And I think it's real too. And I think it takes a very strong woman
and self-aware
to be able to create space for a man to be vulnerable.
So that was it. That was interesting. That was just one part. There's 3 parts of it, and I'll be reacting to all 3 and kind of, again, answering questions from this perspective. I kind of want to get into the comments, but I might make that a totally separate video since this one is already so long. But I am going to get into the comment sections of all 3 of these videos because I want to go back and read them that comment section, I had to be brave to get into that comment section, and I don't remember everything that was in there. But I hope that y'all enjoyed this. I hope that it was fun. I don't know, it's fun for me. I've never done a video like this, but I want to try doing a couple and just, I don't know, seeing how it goes. It's easier for me to answer questions or to respond to something sometimes and to share the kind of things that I want to share than it is to just like, I don't know, share it out of nowhere. I work really well in more of a like coaching and mentoring context. And so until I get some people who are willing to really ask me questions, this might be one of the like better, easier ways. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think. But thank you all so much for watching. Comment your thoughts down below, what you thought, and if there's anything that really resonated with you. And I will see you later. Bye.
Watch the next video or not. It's up to you. Either way, I'm glad I got to spend this time with you.